Okay, should be live now. Hi everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Hope everyone has had a good week. We're gonna be working on the Purussaurus today. I'm gonna try to wrap up this leg. So I've already kind of started picking around certain areas here while I was just sitting waiting. Not very much at all, just like tracing over these little scales a little bit. But we're gonna start finishing up this foot, and then we'll move on to a different area today. I hope you should be able to. Keep this on the screen. Even me. Hey, how are you? Day's going okay so far. I haven't been up for very long. So it's easy to say that right now. But yeah, going well so far. How are you? How's your week been? Question. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks for asking. Unless are you talking about the stream? Something going on with the stream? Let me know. If the sound's okay, you can hear me all right. Can you give me thank yous? Thank you. Yeah, it's definitely been a week. I'm very glad that it's the weekend. I have a 3-day weekend, so I'm looking forward to that. Monday is Martin Luther King Day, so I have the day off. No doubt that day will just like fly by and it won't feel like I had a day off at all, like it usually does. But maybe I'll get some extra work done, or maybe I'll get like some time to play some games or something. Create suggestion. Is that something on YouTube, or is that something in the Discord? I'm not really sure what that is. Yeah, I don't know why that would not be working for whatever reason. Maybe there's like a section where you can ask one of the other devs. I'm not sure. I don't think I'll be very helpful in that area. Apologies. I don't necessarily know like the inner workings, ins and outs of all this. I just kind of learned to post where I need to post and run what I need to run, you know? Okay, Islander fixed it. Thank you. Walking with Dragons, is ZBrush free? Asking for reasons. I don't know. Let's take a look real quick. There might be a free version. Sculptress is free, I think. Which is like a much more simplified version of ZBrush that you can use just to like try it out, see if it's something you're interested in. There is a free trial, it looks like. You can, I believe you can pay by month or by year. But there is a free trial. That's all the information I'm seeing right here at a glance. You should be able to get sculptures for free. Another alternative for you, I don't know if you're interested in ZBrush or something like ZBrush, would be like Nomad Sculpt on iPad if you have an iPad. That's a good alternative. Or you can just get Blender. Blender has some pretty robust sculpting features as well. If you're interested in learning how to sculpt or starting to learn, or just decent sculpting software. King Min Me. So what is Purussaurus going to be able to do in the game? I figure it was going to be able to ambush predator, be an ambush predator. But will it be able to grab things and drown them? You know, I don't know. I don't know exactly the type of gameplay plan for Puru. There's obviously like a ton of different possibilities. Maybe, I don't know. Islander, if you're in the chat, or I can speak to somebody later. It might be cool, maybe as we're getting closer to the end of the Puru, like finishing it up, if one of the other devs can come in here and like have a chat about like, you know, while I'm working, we can have a chat about, you know, how the Puru is going to be implemented, like what it's actually going to do, like just kind of give people a little bit of a preview of how it's all going to work. I don't know. It could be a cool idea. It could be fun. Just talk about how it's going to work in the game. But as for what I know, I don't know all the ins and outs of that. I just know I need to sculpt it. Let's see. Oh, walking with dragons, asking because I hate Retopology and Blender. Oh, really? Okay. I don't know if you're thinking about retopology stuff. I don't know if you're gonna have a better time with that in ZBrush. I do. I know people who use like Z remesher as like a base, and then they like tweak the topology from there. So that could be maybe an advantage to you. But I think there might be like Z remesher equivalents in Blender that are probably like plugins or something that you could get. But yeah, as far I have done retopology in ZBrush, but going through that process. So I've done retopology in ZBrush, I've done retopo in Blender, I've done retopo in Topogun. Honestly, like in my opinion, they kind of all have their like weirdness. I wouldn't necessarily. It's kind of like it's very hard to say which one is like quote unquote better, for me at least. Like with the Eococcaria that I'm working on right now for Echoes, I did most of the base mesh retopology, or not retopology, like I created the base mesh in ZBrush pretty quickly, and then I did like some tweaks in Blender really quick, and then brought it back into ZBrush. So I guess it depends too. You can combine those workflows and try to like bridge the gaps a little bit. Yeah, retopology is like, I have yet to find something that's like super transformative, I guess, in terms of the way I go about it. And like there isn't like one app that I would say is like the go-to for retopology, at least not yet. Not to me, at least. Okay, Islander, yeah. I think that would be a cool idea too. So if you want to talk about it in more detail later, that would be sweet. Yeah, because I'm interested as well in like the game dev side, like the actual like discussing the actual mechanics of the game and how things are gonna work. I like talking about that stuff and learning about that stuff. So it'd be a learning experience for me as well. I could go up in subdiv. I'm wondering if I need to. This is working okay, but I'm starting to get some crunchiness in this area here. I might need to go up one. Yeah. So let's see, for these areas, I think I'm going to add a little bit of a alpha sort of drag texture on here, just to get a little bit of what am I trying to say? I kind of like to prime the surface a little bit on these types of areas, just to give a little bit of kind of surface noise. And then from that surface noise, I can build out some scales, or I can go over the top of it with other scales and stuff. I'm just going to use one of these stock alphas with ZBrush. It's kind of weird. I usually don't like to use like the default stuff that a program comes with, because I think it tends to be overused, and you can really tell when people like for example in Substance Painter, all of their like default materials, a lot of those I don't use, just because you can kind of tell that it's like a Substance default thing. But this alpha here, I don't know who made it or what they made it from, probably some photo, but I have not found a better alpha or made a better alpha than what this can do. It's like, it's very versatile. It can be super subtle. It can be super like, you can make it really pronounced. It like wraps around most forms. Like it's got this subtle curve to it that you can wrap and bend around most limbs and facial features and all kinds of stuff. It's a really good alpha, so I use it a lot. It kind of ends up most of the time it ends up just being like a base, and then I go over it with other stuff. So you kind of, depending on where you look, you can't really see it super prominently, but it does provide a nice little, like this surface quality here, this little bumpiness is very nice. Reese VCT, looking great, thank you. Tinkastian, is this the suggestion that you were trying to post last week? Or you were working on last week, I think? About the it was parasites, I believe, right? Cool. I'm glad you were able to post it. Sorry guys, I'm kind of focusing in here because I feel I feel like the past few streams we've just been working on this Huru leg, and I'm kind of I feel like we need some variety, so I'm trying to finish this so we can get to some other parts of the model. I'm also trying to think of you know, this week has been like kind of a crazy week for like a lot of reasons, but I'm trying to think of what actually happened this week. It's been one of those weeks where it's like a blur. I've been seeing, so I've been playing a lot of Marvel Rivals, which has been fun, like in terms of gaming stuff. So I was playing some Rivals this week, which was fun, playing with some friends. That's been kind of like my go-to game for just like, you know, it's just fun. It's not like super serious. You can, unless you want to take it serious, but I tend to not do that kind of stuff because it just makes the game, it like can ruin stuff. So it's just fun to play, have a chat with friends. You know, it's a crazy shooter. Matches go by pretty quick. I don't have to invest a ton of time into like a storyline or anything crazy like that. I've been seeing a lot of more news coming out for Monster Hunter Wilds, which is I'm really looking forward to. So there's a few updates for that this week. I'm kind of torn whether I should like actually. I haven't looked at a lot of the more recent updates because there's this one thing about Capcom that is cool, but at the same time is like a little bit something that I would nitpick is I think they show too much. Especially in like Monster Hunter World, I think they showed like pretty much everything before the game came out. Like I think I knew about the majority of the monsters before the thing ever, you know. A lot of it was just because I was hyped for the game and I wanted to learn everything, so it was partially my fault. But they did show quite a lot. So by the time I got into the game, I pretty much knew every monster that was going to be coming at me, with the exception of maybe like a few of the end game guys. So I'm kind of trying to not look at that as much, so that way I'm a little bit more surprised. Yeah, so I'm looking forward to that game a lot. I think once that comes out, I'll probably be neglecting Rivals a lot. I'm wondering if I should make an alpha really quick for these little scales here. Let's try it. See how it goes. Because these scales here are less unique than these ones up here. I think I'm showing my, yeah, I'm showing my ref. So I think I might be able to get away with the alpha, but it needs to be a certain kind of, let me see, make something here. Plane. 3, 4, 5. So I want the shape to be kind of square-ish. A little bit of variation, and then I'm going to blur this a little bit. I hate that. Why are you doing that? And then pop this up. I want it to have a pretty good bevel on it because, well, you'll see how I'm going to use it in a second. And it's kind of flat. I want these edges to be a little bit more raised. That. I'll come to the layer brush, drag rect, and then I need to grab the dock. So I have my alpha. Then we go to leg. Do I have a morph target? I do, but it's probably not updated, so I'll store a new one. And then what do I need to do? I need to get this out of my way. Back face. Okay. So should be able to drag this alpha out. It's a little bit sharp. Maybe modify it just a little bit. Alpha. Modify. Blur. Where's the blur? I hope that did something. No. We'll do this. Blur it like this. Then recapture the alpha. This might be better up here because it's getting in my way. I hope. Come back. Try this one out. Go. Okay, that's kind of what I need. It's not exactly, but we can clean it up in a secondary pass. But you see how it's like merging together instead of like overlapping really nasty. That's what I want. I'm trying to respect the like boundaries. See these like lines that are coming in? Those are actually coming from, they're kind of arbitrary, but they're coming from the, what is it? It's that alpha that I laid down, that skin alpha. But one thing that I probably should do before I started this was like emphasize some of them. This is going to mess up my morph target, but we'll see how it goes. Where is the layer brush? But I'm trying to like kind of lay these scales in between those lines. To kind of respect those creases. So they'll get kind of small in there, and then in between those they'll be a little bit larger, because this is where the skin like flexes. So everything will get to be a little bit tinier here. This is very, very tiny detail. So you can see the mesh is starting to fight the detail that I'm putting in. I don't think it's too much of a worry because I can smooth that away. It doesn't need to be, I don't think it needs to be extremely sharp. Not like these bigger scales. There's other stuff that we can do later on too, like in Substance Painter, I can re-emphasize some of this. I don't think we'll need to though. I think it'll look fine. One of the things to keep in mind, is like the average distance that a person is going to see the model from. I want to detail it as much as possible, but like majority of the time, you know, you're going to be playing this character. You're going to be like, if you imagine this as like the game screen, you're going to be like out here someplace, right? I don't know exactly where the camera is placed, but it's going to be out here. You're going to be swimming and doing all kinds of stuff. Your feet are going to be in the mud, in the sand, in the grass and stuff. See, okay. That's where it's going to look a little bit crunchy here for a second. Because I put that, I put those creases in there. So you can see how the alpha is trying to like, it's catching those creases and making the scale kind of clip, which is working to my advantage in this case, but it can be a little harsh. So I have to make sure I kind of soften it. Then I can come over it again with some wrinkles. just to get a little bit more kind of variety in the surface of that. That's what I'm kind of looking for there. Okay, so we'll have to do that to all the webbing parts. So learning from that little process there, what I'm going to do is I'm going to emphasize the wrinkles first. That way I have better boundaries. And then do the scales. Where do I? Here's my standard. So, do I think that is good enough? Maybe just a bit more. I'm trying to look at how the light catches things, see if there's enough variation. I think that's decent. Then I'll store the morph target again and then come back to the scale alpha. Okay, so I need to fill in this area really quick. All this bigger scales in. The transition between the bigger scales and these tiny ones on the webbing is pretty abrupt. Not like super, super abrupt, but it's not gradual either. And then this kind of becomes more skin with small scales here. No dispo. Hi, welcome. How's it going? Oh, thank you. Thanks. We have one more little area over here on the top side, stuff to fill in, and then this pad area on the bottom side should be okay to do. I can show you how I usually go about like a more repetitive alpha. So we'll do that. Sorry, I just saw this right here and I need to being a little bit distracted. Okay, so we'll keep on going. Where's my brush? There we go. Oh, this I just remembered. I don't know why this is a random thought. I looked at my screen and I saw the background. I actually got some good news this week about a couple of action figures that I ordered that will actually be being shipped to me. What are they? There's some raptor figures. Let me go to Big Bad Toy Store really quick. Because so I placed an order for these figures like a year ago. I think it's like the longest I've waited for a like a figure. Or a couple of figures. They're, oh man, I can't remember. I can't remember. It's been so long that I don't even remember the brand or like the name of them. But they're like very articulated, Jurassic Park, like screen accurate looking. I think they're from Jurassic Park 3. The male and female versions of those raptors, I think. But yeah, I ordered those over a year ago, and I've been like periodically checking in just to see. And like, usually, I mean, I've waited a good amount of time for a figure, like, I don't know, several months. But it just kept getting like pushed back and pushed back. It would be like, you know, we'll deliver it to you in Q1, and then Q2, Q3, Q4, and yeah, it's been over a full year since I ordered those guys. So it's good to finally get a notification that they're coming, because I totally forgot about them. Then I remembered that they were on their way, and then I started worrying. So it's been a while. It happened to my friend too. The weird thing is, like, I've seen people have these figures. I've seen people, like friends of mine, have them. They posted pictures of them. They like did little reviews of them and stuff. So I have no idea why getting them to us took such a long time. Maybe I should have ordered from a different source. I don't know. Oh wow, you're waiting on stuff too. The dispo, yeah. I think these figures maybe take the record for like the longest I've waited for a figure. I'd have to check, but yeah, it's pretty up there. There are some figures that I want to pre-order. I have to check if they're on pre-order actually. But So they have, there's a Monster Hunter. There's a new entry in the Monster Hunter line for SH Monster Arts, the Rajang figure. I want that guy. Rajang isn't my favorite monster, but I'm kind of being a little bit of a completionist. Like with these figures, especially like from SH Monster Arts, like those kind of more collector, like higher end figures, it's actually a lot cheaper to just buy them when they're in pre-order. Like buy them when they're actually first released, because if you wait too long in the aftermarket, their prices just go way up high. So I've kind of learned that the hard way in some instances. A lot of the figures behind me were like, I had to buy like much later, and I had to wait to see if there's like any good deals on eBay for them. But I did end up paying much more than they were sold at first release. But at least I found them, you know. I'm happy to have them in my collection. I'm noticing there's a shape here that I don't like. I need to change. This shape of this toe here, it feels a little bit like stylized or squished. So I'm going to adjust it just a little bit because it was. I should always have my pen up. It was going, to me, it was going like, it was making like this weird like shape, and it was pinched right here. So I wanted to straighten it out. That's all I was seeing. So we're good now. You're being nitpicky. So we got those webbing done on the front side. The webbing on the back is going to be even finer than that. So I think I'm going to handle those with some sort of tileable alpha. Let me see where this kind of stuff. See these like very fine little scales. That's what's going to be on the back side of the whole like palm or like the foot pad. That's what I'm going to do there. So we'll make that. I think I'm going to, you'll see me try, I will try to do some stuff in Substance Designer. It's a fairly, I might be a little rusty because it's been months since I've used Substance Designer. And every time I do that, I forget stuff. It's, like there's so many programs to like, that are involved in this stuff. And like, sometimes a model requires certain things and you can go like several weeks without using something. And just stuff. It's not like Photoshop or ZBrush where I use it constantly, and it's kind of like riding a bike. Like I just know how to use it and I just go for it. Just because I use it so often. With this other stuff that's used more like sporadically, it's very hard to like keep everything in mind. So there's a lot of refreshing that needs to be done when I go back into them. Fortunately, this tileable that we'll make here, I don't think is gonna need like a lot of it's not a fancy tileable, you know. It's not gonna need like a ton of nodes or anything like that. I'm gonna flatten this a little bit because it's getting a little puffy. I need to go back to these scales are very flat, mostly. Okay, so I just need to finish up these scales here. This guy. Okay, so I kind of have to feather this out just so that way when we add that this kind of stuff underneath here, these very tiny ones, you know, see this transition right here? That's what I'm looking at right now. That's what I'm thinking about. So it is pretty like abrupt. But I want maybe a tiny bit of a transition, just like maybe like a row of smaller scales here, just to kind of bridge the gap between these hand sculpted scales and the ones that I'm going to add here in a second, or else it'll look really funny. Or I'll give myself even more work later because I'll have to go back in and like blend things out. So it's better just to do it earlier, in my opinion. I think in the end I'll probably have to go back in and do some cleanup anyway, because there always is some cleanup, but at least we'll get the overall impression in there right away. I'm gonna have to do a cleanup pass on everything later. So see what I'm doing now, just like kind of outlining stuff and like reinforcing things. That's gonna be done pretty much over the whole model. Not like each and every individual little scale, but like the more prominent scales, any areas that look too fuzzy, too like blurry, is going to get this sort of reinforcement here. And it's going to help in the textures as well later on when we bake things out. It's better, in my opinion, prepping like game models and stuff. It's better to slightly increase like the contrast, or like exaggerate creases and crevices and stuff like that, because in the engine the way the light works is going to be different than like if you're looking at it in Blender, or even when you look at it here. Like this material isn't like, it's kind of hard to describe because this is like not technically a real 3D object. ZBrush is a 2.5D program. So like what you're seeing here is like not actually like, I don't know how they explain it. I've heard it explained multiple times and I still don't really get it. But basically this isn't a real 3D object. Don't make me explain it out, because I won't do it right. But basically, like, you know, this material is catching edges and adding contrast into these crevices, like kind of artificially. It helps me sculpt, right? But like, it doesn't necessarily mean that that's going to translate 100% over to whatever I'm using next. Because it's kind of subjective. Like if I switch to a totally different material, things can look deeper or shallower. So it can be tricky to kind of gauge with just your eyes, like what feels Excuse me. What feels deep enough and what is not, you know. So that's that little consideration to keep in mind. I won't get too far into the weeds with that right now. Okay, let me save, and then we're gonna start prepping for this substance painter, or not substance painter, substance designer stuff. We're gonna do that on the bottom right here. And I don't like this matte cap. So a different one. I'm so like I feel like I'm always in search of a better matte cap. So far, this one that my friend made is really nice. I like this a lot. It's kind of my new favorite one. It's been really nice to work with. I think it has some good contrast in the material. I've noticed like the more metallic ones look better and I feel nicer to work with, at least for me. Like the gray metal here, the oxide is really nice, but I think it's a little bit I would say, I guess, overused maybe. Like for presentation purposes, I don't like to use it. But I do sculpt in it sometimes. These guys are cool too. It's just about having a nice degree of contrast, so you can see the surface details. There's a little bit of cavity detection. I noticed like I like those matte caps much more than others. Okay. That's what the leg is looking like. Nearly finished. We just have the foot pads to deal with. Do a quick stretch because my shoulders are getting super tight. My posture has not been the greatest this week. Okay. So we'll come to this plane. What I need to do is I need to generate a couple of alphas. And I need to generate alphas that look roughly like these little scales here. So they're kind of diamond-ish. And they overlap a little bit. But there's a few like considerations that I have to have when I'm making this stuff. I think what I want to go for is something more like but it's like square-ish. You see that? Square-ish with rounded edges. I think that'll probably work the best. Where the heck is it? There it is. I need to morph to grid. And we're gonna do something like this. And I want the edges to be kind of blurry. Probably a little bit more blurry than I should be doing. Kind of like this. Because it's going to give me like a bevel. I'll raise it out. And I want to give it a little bit of roundness. Something like that. I don't want that edge on there. something like this. Then we'll capture this capture that. Wonder if I want to do. So generally, it's good to have some variation. I'm gonna export this stuff. Export this mesh to Peru. Peru. Available. Safe. And then I have to find that folder. Stylable. I should rename these to be better. Hold on. Okay. I'm wondering if it's worth doing some variations. Do some fast and just see if we use them. If we don't use them, then it's not a big deal. They're not going to be like anything crazy. It's just going to be like a little bit of added like irregularity, like a little bit of wiggle, just some variation to what the shape is, like this, slightly different. Not anything. Grab doc, I'm gonna export that. Scale alpha 2. And then we will duplicate this. Do another slight variation. Maybe in a different way. Other way around. Maybe something like that. Same thing. You don't have to be on this layer brush to do the grab doc. I just don't want to add more. I don't want to screw up the alphas of any of the other brushes. That's why I'm going to the same brush over and over again to export these. We have 3. Okay. So I'm going to launch Substance Designer. And I have not opened this in like almost 2 months, I think. So this is going to be interesting. Get out of here. Whatever that is. New substance graph. This is going to be... Okay. There we go. So I need to find the folder again. I don't know why I closed it. There we are. No, that's not the right. There we are. So I drag these resources into the graph. Import resources. Alpha. Come in warped. I hope that doesn't screw everything up. I might have to crop them to be square. We'll try it and see if it works like this, but I might have to crop them to be square. Okay. Uh-oh. Okay, so give me 1 second to get my bearings. I need to do a pattern. I want sampler. I have a pattern input. So far, I'm just going to do one. So what it's doing, it's taking this. Yeah, this is going to be annoying. So I need to crop these. I need to crop them to be square. 1 second. We'll open up the other ones too. Yeah. Okay. This needs to be square. Okay, and then we save. Exit. Delete these. Re-import. These ones don't need to be in here anymore. I don't know why Substance is being kind of laggy. It's kind of annoying right now. Okay, I think we're probably good now. So I'll put that in there. So it's just less distorted with the without the square crop. It was getting like warped, stretched side to side or top to bottom. I can't remember. So what we will do now that I have that in there, I need to increase the scale of each little one of these guys. And the offset needs to be usually 0.5 works. I want them to be like almost touching. This is one of the reasons why I did the like slight bevel, so that way it could like the soft edge. I honestly could have done it more because they're still fairly hard edged. But like what I want to do is get them to be kind of honeycomb texture looking thing. I want to get them as close as I can get them without like clipping into each other. And then so you guys can see how it's actually working on the surface of stuff. I'll put it into this node. Turn up the intensity. So that stuff. So then it looks, you know, I mean, you can kind of probably, hard to say. You can probably get away with it like this if you do a little bit of, like over sculpting. But I want to do a little bit more. So the name of the game in like using these like procedural texture things is variety. You have to incorporate a lot of variety, a lot of irregularity, in subtle ways to get things to feel like they are more natural. Because nature is all about imperfection. So introducing some imperfection, the way that things don't line up properly, things don't, things are subtly different sizes, different, subtly different shapes. Stuff like that. So that's what I'm trying to introduce here. Just a little bit. If I introduce too much, then it's going to completely destroy the pattern, you know? So I don't want to give it so much that it just becomes like a random assembly of little square shapes. There's stuff I can do here. I don't have to just commit to this. Like I can make modifications to the, so I want to blur it more. Because that edge, like I said, is too harsh. I'm gonna blur it even more so that way we have a better overlap between the scales in the sampler. And offset's good. Position random. Let's see what that does. Nope. Maybe like slightly, just slightly. Okay. Rotation random seems okay. Mask random. That's just gonna take out some. So this is a cool function because you can mask out this random pattern and then introduce other different types of scales in here. Let me see what happens if I try to throw in one of these other ones. It might screw everything up. Let me save this before I try this out. Yes. Goes. Roof pad. Yep. Okay, so I need to add another pattern input. Pattern input. We want to go to 2. So then I go here, put that one in, but it's too sharp again. So I've got to add a blur. So we'll blur that even more. I wish I had there an easy way to like go back and forth. There is, but I'd have to set it up, and I don't know if I want to do that. So this looks okay to me. We can even add more. Let's see if we can add more. Why not? Let's see how much time we got. Pattern input will go up to 3, and we'll just use everything that we have here. This is I'll copy this blur node. And then we'll put this in here. So we're blurring already. This pattern goes in here. Okay. So it's kind of cool. Like it's getting like this nice little clustering here and there, like these little clusters of scales. And then it's kind of separating more over here. Yeah, I think maybe we can play around with it even more. Like, let me see. Pattern. I'm wondering if they control everything with one or have to control the pattern individually. No, it seems like it's all with one. Scaled random even more. So this is like kind of what this isn't a complex, super complex texture. We can make it even like generally these types of scale textures don't get super complex. You can do stuff that makes it even more complex if you want to, but I tend to find that stuff that's a little bit more simpler, more direct, kind of works better. I need a warp, something to warp this with. Some kind of noise. This guy's fine. I need to change the scale to make it bigger. And then apply this to the warp. So what I'm doing is like adding a little bit of shift to stuff. So that way it's adding even more irregularity to stuff that was kind of subtly irregular, but I can adjust this and make it even more like weird. You don't want to do too much though. And then I can put this in here. One other thing that I should try to do is the random color thing. Because it'll add like a little bit of random depth to see that. This. I don't want to do it too much because it's in ZBrush. ZBrush likes to there's almost too much information in this, and then ZBrush kind of exaggerates that information even more, and it can make the tileable kind of noisy. So I don't want to do that. So we'll get this out of here. And then what do I want to do? I want to do some adjustments, so I'm going to do some levels. And then I will do a blur. This. Quality to 1. Take the intensity down. So I'm kind of, if I were applying this in like directly in Substance Painter, I'd kind of want to leave it alone. Because I'd want as much information as I need, like as I can possibly get. But for ZBrush, it tends to be better just to slightly blur it, like kind of dull it down. because ZBrush, like I said, it exaggerates. This can get a little bit too crazy for ZBrush. We'll export a couple and we'll try. So I'm gonna save this. I wonder what resolution do I have on this? Let's see. Pad scales 01, and then we'll do a little bit more blurry, like that. Pad scales 02. I think that's all we need. I'll keep this open just for now, in case we got to go back and do some tweaks, but we'll see how this goes right now. Before we get to that, I want to treat this surface a little bit so that way we have some variation. Here. Dasher, hey Dasher, as a pro, with every project you make, do you still learn new stuff, or is it pretty straightforward for you? No, every new project I learn something different, pretty much. Yeah, it's not. It's usually not just a straightforward, like, repetitive thing. There's usually something here and there that I can pick up to improve. I actually do this thing. So I've been doing this more recently. It's kind of like I guess it would be like a video diary kind of thing. So like when I finish a project, like let's imagine that this Peru is all done, you know, I'll start a recording and I'll start reviewing my own work. So like I'll ask myself, you know, what went well in this project, and then I'll talk about like, okay, well these various things I am satisfied with, and then I talk about what didn't go well, and then I'll pick a few points, as many points as I think I can, of like what I would have liked to improve, and then I kind of break it down into like process. So like if you think about it like a flow chart, you know, it's like step 1, and then you know, and etc. So I go through each step and I'm like, okay, what happened here? Like that's like I did a project not too long ago where I was making like a sea creature, and the sea creature had these very thin meshes. It was like a fin, right? Like a fin. And this fin gave me a lot of trouble in the baking section of the process. because it was too thin. So what I had, I had to fix it, right? So in my video review, what I did is like, okay, well, the majority of it went well, but when you get to, it's like notes for myself in the future, right? So when you get to if you have a mesh that has like a fin, then you need to make sure that you're incorporating extra thickness, so that way when you bake it, it bakes well. And I'll leave myself that sort of note. Which is why coming into the Purussaurus, this stuff back here is what I need to keep in mind, because this is almost like a fin, but it's even worse than a fin because it's like little separate fins. So we're gonna see how that goes. But I do that for myself, and it's generally been working out pretty well. It's a new practice that I've been implementing, but yeah, like I try to learn. Usually I'll pick up a few different things to fix things that I've seen to fix things in my process that I'm trying to fix from before, like another project, you know. So every new thing has its excuse me. Every new project has its own like adaptations. I'm constantly like evolving stuff so that to like make things better. I want to optimize stuff as much as I can because I am super busy, honestly, and I need to be as efficient as I possibly can with the time that I have. That way I can make sure everyone I'm working with is happy, you know. So we're gonna import this. We have, where did I export this? There we go. We got the tilables. We'll try number 1 first. We want this alpha, or actually, I'm just gonna store a morph target, and we'll do like a. Well, I'll show you. This tileable texture is going to overspill into this other stuff, but because we have a morph target, I can paint it out. Make it more intense. I need my refs. Make sure I'm doing them at the right size. Is this working? Yeah. But it's kind of fine. Let me see. I'm going to do the other one. That's a subtle difference, but I think I like it better because the separations between the scales are wider. So I'm gonna I want to up the intensity a little bit. Oh, you were here. You were here day 1 when it was 3 cubes. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I'm glad you've been able to see like the whole, or a good chunk of the evolution of this. So up here, they get very, very, very tiny. This is starting to deform. Andrea, I have to agree. I've been catching up with your streams in the free time because I haven't been able to join all of them. But it's unbelievable how a quick sketch and a few long boxes can look like. Oh, cool. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, the approach to this one is like one of several different approaches that I like to do. And I'm always switching it up. So who knows? Like, oh, like the EO Carcaria that I'm working on right now didn't even start as boxes. It started out as, well, it started out as a box, but I like extruded the box. I did like a kind of more of a box modeling approach with that one. And then from there, that turned into the base mesh, and then I just started sculpting on top. So it wasn't even like that base mesh will eventually become what actually goes into the game. So it's more of a direct, like, I won't have to retopologize that guy, you know, because that topology is already done, which is nice. So it's a different approach than this guy, where I'm like completely starting from like nothing, and then I'll have to go through each and every step to get it done. So you see here's where it like overspills. So with the morph target, I'm just cleaning up the part where it's not supposed to be. And then anywhere that just looks kind of wonky or like isn't strong enough or, you know, whatever, I'll go back in and I'll adjust, or maybe I'll reapply some of the, like this area. It's kind of fuzzy. It didn't catch the tileable. So I'm going to go back in and drag that out there. That. Sorry and hello. Dasher, these scale textures, have you made them yourself? Yep, I just made them in Substance Designer right here. These guys, from these 3 scales, I made this tileable here. I think I did save it. It seems like these are working okay. I need to make double sure that I saved it. There we go. And then if we need it later to tweak stuff and like adjust things, I'll go back and adjust. But yeah, I made these guys. I actually have a ton of alpha or like tileable textures that I made over the years. Like, I actually need to go back and I need to like sort them out, because honestly, like, I probably have an alpha like this that I made already that I could have used, but because I don't know where it is, I just remade this now. I think it's cool to show on stream, but I probably had something like this, you know, that I could have used. So I need to get my act together and organize those already, but it's kind of hard. Let me try one of these guys. Will that work? I don't think that will work. I'm trying to add a little bit more wrinkle kind of detail. I think I'll just go back to this alpha though, because it'll probably do the best job of doing this. I just want a little bit more breakup the surface. And then we'll go back in with these bigger brushes and add even more creases and stuff. Okay, so that's, for the most part, it's done. I have a little couple spots in here that I need to fix because they got smoothed out or something right here. Andrea, are you planning to change some of these foot scales into the filed down, worn out scales you mentioned in one of your previous streams? And that can be seen in the ref pictures. Yeah. It'll be like a secondary pass. Usually what I do is I'll put the scales in and then like where I know it would contact the ground more, I'll go back in with like a trim dynamic and like flatten them. So it gets like this kind of, I don't know, like kind of worn out texture. So like on the very, I guess, tips of the pads, like the lowest point of the pads where it contacts the ground much more, those will get like kind of like a flattened like feeling. So yeah, I will do that. I told myself I would get done with this. I mean, done, you know, like, as in like everything is there. But maybe not entirely like finalized, super finalized, but everything is represented. So that way we can move on to something new next week. What will that be? We move on to, so we can move on to this foot. I mean, this leg. So we do more scales, or we can do something else, like maybe take a break from the limbs and go back to the head and neck, maybe a little bit, and kind of refine that, because that hasn't been touched for several weeks. So we could do that and then like bounce around a little bit. I don't know. You guys can let me know right now if you want where you would like me to go next. But we're getting there. We have a few areas to retouch and stuff, but the majority of the Peru is here. It's just textures that we got to do. So those are two possibilities, I think. You can go here, or we can go back here and do some even more like details on the face. Let me know what you think. Just kind of wrapping up right now. Last few minutes of the stream. Hope you guys have enjoyed. Let me know if you have any last minute questions you'd like me to answer. Are you going to have to make a juvenile, subadult stages, etc. too? You know, that is a good question. I am not sure. I should check in on that. It could be a fairly straightforward proportion change. But yeah, I don't know what is entirely required of the mesh. We'd probably have to... Yeah. I'm just... Now that you asked that question, I'm just like running it through my brain, like all the stuff that would need to be done to accomplish that. And I don't know if we would necessarily want to... I don't know. It depends on some of you, I think, right? If you want to see that whole thing, or if you'd rather move on to a new dino. Have you ever photographed or handled animals yourself to get reference? Yeah. I mean, rarely have I like handled them, because like majority of the references I need come from animals that you're not really going to be able to handle. But I have actually been really up close with it was an alligator. And I got a lot of really nice photos. But the problem is, I don't know exactly where those photos are. They're in one of my hard drives someplace. But yeah, I was able to get really close to him. I actually was able to pet him, which was an interesting experience because the texture of their skin is not what I expected. They're actually like very, this guy at least, you know, he was very soft. Like you could tell that the skin was definitely tough. It's tough material, but it's not like, you're not touching like a hard carapace. It's very soft. Which was really surprising to me. And I've handled like other like snakes. Although their skin and patterns like aren't as useful to me in a lot of like dinosaur work, because those types of scales are just not what they have. As far as birds and stuff go, not too many. I haven't handled or like been super up close with too many birds, other than like, you know, chickens or something like that. Common birds. Majority of the stuff I get, you know, I would have to go to the zoo and stuff to get. And I've done lots of studies, like going to the zoo, drawing, going to the museum, drawing of the skeletons. I've done like a lot of comparative anatomy stuff, like taking courses on comparative anatomy at museums. And what's cool about those courses is that you actually get to go behind, like into their collection, and they'll pull out drawers of different specimens and stuff. So we were able to see lots of cool like dinosaur bones, preserved specimens of different reptiles and fish and amphibians and crazy stuff that we could like. You don't want to hold that stuff because a lot of it in the museum that I was in, they were like, you know, you can look at it, but don't touch it because like this was preserved like almost 100 years ago when like everybody used like arsenic and like nasty stuff like that. So they're like, don't touch it. So there's stuff like that, but I did get a lot of photos and sketches from them. Andrea, head would be nice so you can have a break from all of the small, similarly shaped scales. Yeah, I think that's where I'm leaning to. So we might do some more refinements on the face next week. So we'll see. We'll see. Okay. So I'll take a zoom out here, take a look at how he's looking with all the majority, you know, 95, 98% of the scales complete there. Give or take like some stuff for refinements. This is how he's coming along. Thank you all for being here with me this week. Taking some time to watch the development of the Peru. Yeah, if any of you are new, definitely keep an eye out on the Echoes YouTube and our social media and the Discord. And if you'd like to follow any of my work, those links are in the description as well. The description of the, I guess it would be when we post the stream up, it'll be in there. Yeah, thanks you. Thank you all for coming this week. And I'll see you next weekend. Okay? Have a good one.